about what is an operating system. And in regards to Windows operating system, we talked about what is a client OS, what are the versions of client OS, what is a server OS. So server OS provides services, client OS receives the services. What happened to Rajesh again?
He unable to hear you due to some mic issue, so he pinged me, sir. So I asked him to rejoin.
Okay, let's wait for a moment. Okay, or eventually let him join. Yeah, so he just joined. Yes, Rajesh, am I audible? Rajesh, Rajesh, am I audible? Yes, Rajesh, am I audible? Rajesh, can you respond? Rajesh, yesterday also we wasted 50, first 15-20 minutes in this.
Um, so he unable to hear you, Santosh. I will ask him to join from mobile.
Yeah,
Could
please.
you please? Yeah.
Ask him to be on mobile as well as on phone so he can hear on phone and he can see the screen on system.
Okay, Santosh. I will tell him.
Okay, Teja. It just seems he has slow internet connection. I have accepted him, still he is not getting joined. It is showing admitting.
Santosh, sir, he told me like he will restart the mission. In the meantime, you can he asked him to continue.
Okay, fine. We'll continue.
Uh,
So we saw yesterday what is a client OS and a server OS. Just a second. It's a server provides services, client receives the services. Examples of client OS, we have Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Windows 11. And examples of server OS, we have Windows Server 2000, Windows Server 2003, we have Server 2003 R2, we have Windows Server 2000, we have Windows Server 2008 R2. As yesterday we discussed, R2 stands for Release 2. We have Windows Server 2012 and 2012 R2. We have Windows Server 2016, 19, and the recent version is Server 2022. And as we discussed, it is released in a pair. It is released in a pair with client and server OS. So with server 2020-22, we have Windows 11 client OS. Then we talked about, I don't know what issue he has. I'm admitting him. He is not getting admitted. Thrice I accepted him. Okay, so we talked about tower servers. Yes, Rajesh.
I can hear now. I can hear
Yeah,
now.
please check your internet connection or system, whatever, because daily wasting 10-15 minutes
No,
in
no,
an
no.
hour is a huge loss.
Today there was a system update, sir. That's why.
Okay, fine. So where, as we discussed yesterday, types of hardware servers. So we have tower servers, which will look like your desktop computer, but it is not a desktop computer. It has a server class components. So for example, if you have a RAM in your desktop machine of 16 GB, the same RAM can't be fitted in the server because it should have a server class RAM. In the same way, all components are integrated on your motherboard. All components are fitted on your motherboard. Whereas we have sleek design of rack mount servers. Now these are known as tower servers because they have a tower kind of shape. Now, why then these are known as rack mount servers? So first of all, we understood that the components are fitted in the cabinet itself, like motherboard, CPU, RAM, SMPS, etc. And this here we have on off button. Here we have on off button here. Power power buttons. This silver strip can be inserted out to remove these hard drives, right? So here you can see we have a lot of hard drives in this rack mount server. Here we have digital meter small, what server is doing, right? And as we understood, most of the tower servers are non-hot swappable. They don't have the hot swap feature, right? And rack mount servers, as specifically in today's current era, we have hot swappable feature with rack servers. And we understood what is a hot swap feature. While the server is on, we can remove and insert the hard drives. We can remove the hard drive and insert a new hard drive. That is hot swap feature. Now, why this is known as rack mount server? So basically, these servers are mounted in a rack. Here you will fit two screws, and in the same manner, here you will fit two screws. So they are fitted in a rack. So racks are also known as enclosures. So if I talk about rack, which are known as server enclosures in a technical language. You can see this, these are server enclosures, right? So for example, here we can see this is a rack, right? And here, let's say this is one server, this is another server. Basically, this is a network rack. And here we can see these are servers fitted here. This is the back side of the rack. Front side, it will appear like this. Let me maximize it. You can see. So this fellow is, you can see these are three rack servers. These are two different another rack servers. These are of HP. These are of Dell. These are of HP. Right? Here we have two rack servers. Here we have three rack servers. And apart from that, here you can see this fellow is inserting a case, right? Now this whole enclosure is known as a blade enclosure. Blade enclosure. So you need to buy a blade enclosure. Now enclosure of can be of 16 blades, 32 blades, 8 blades, 128 blades. Now each blade acts as a server. It will have its own small motherboard, CPU capacity, RAM, etc. Right? And it is not necessary that if you have bought 16 enclosure blade server, right? So here you can see we have this 20 blades enclosure. So this is my enclosure. This is my one blade. Now this will have its own RAM, own motherboard, own CPU. And you can see we have three hard drive capacities here, three hard drives we can insert. Now it is not necessary that when we are buying 20 blade enclosure, we should buy all 20 blades. It is not necessary. So let's say when I'm buying a blade server, I can buy an enclosure of 20 blades, but I can have two blades only at the initial. In the future, whenever I need to upgrade my hardware, I can insert a new blade. So eventually my server capacity will be increased. Apart from that, I can use the single blade for a single computing capacity also. That is also possible. So we have tower servers, we have rack mount servers, and we have blade servers. So three types of hardware servers we have. Clear till here? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Yes, Teja, any
No, sir.
doubt? Okay.
No.
So now when we talk about Windows desktop OS market share as per August 2019, so this is an old data. So we can see Windows holds 88% of market share. Client OS, the users are users in the corporate who use the OS, right? Linux has 1.7% and Macintosh has 10% approx. Among this 88% of share, we can see XP is around 1.5%, Windows 7 is 30%, Windows 8 is half percent, Windows 8.14%, and Windows 10 approx 11%. Sorry, not 11%, 51%. Now, today Windows 8 share is almost taken by Windows 10, and 50% of Windows 10 share is taken by Windows 11. Windows 11 share is now more. Mostly now, as of today, we don't have XP, we don't have 8. 8.1 can be hardly 1%. 7 can be 5%. And among the 94%, you can say that your 45% will be Windows 10 and 54%, sorry, 49% or 50% approx will be Windows 11 in today's trend. So that is the market share of Windows. That was client OS. Now desktop OS. Now if we talk about history of Windows Server. So the first Windows Server Microsoft released was Windows NT 3.1. Windows NT 3.1. And gradually it has upgraded. Then we have Windows NT 3.5, 3.51, Windows NT 4.0. Now the NT 4.0 was the history changer of Microsoft, because with Windows NT 4.0, Microsoft released directory services. Directory services. Now this NT 4.0 was released in 1994. In 1994. And in the year 2000 or pre 2000, Microsoft released Windows 2000 Server, and they upgraded directory services. So here directory services were known as New Technology Directory Services, NTDS. The directory services were known as New Technology Directory Services. And with the release of 2000 Server, Microsoft renamed it and upgraded it as Active Directory Services. As Active Directory Services. So they were carry forward with Server 2003, Server 2003 R2, Server 2008. Again, the features. So with every release of the server OS, features of Active Directory are upgraded, or some are deprecated, some are removed, or some are added. Now, with the release of Server 2008, Microsoft again renamed Active Directory Services as Active Directory Domain Services. Active Directory Domain Services. Then we had Server 2008 R2, Server 2012, Server 2012 R2. Now we have Server 2016, 2019, and Server 2022. The recent latest release. Now till 2022, we have Active Directory Domain Services also. But starting with Server 2016, it has a compatibility to integrate with your Azure Active Directory services. Right. So Azure is a cloud platform of Microsoft. And again, Azure has a Active Directory in cloud also. That is known as Azure Active Directory. Now, if we go a little bit deep dive in of era of each server. So we had NT era, Windows NT era, where we had Windows NT 3.1, 3.5, 3.51, Windows NT 4.0. And you can see these are the release dates and these are the versions. Now each server OS will have its edition. So previously 3 versions have had a single edition, but with the release of Windows NT 4.0, it had different editions. Windows NT 4.0 server, enterprise edition, terminal server edition, etc. Now edition is a same copy of server, but with a different set of features. So that we'll understand in server 2016 and 19 to easily differentiate it. Then we had an Active Directory era. We had server 2000, server 2003, server 2003 R2. And you can see here we have release dates again. Release dates, version of the server, and editions, different editions available. Here 2003 include all these plus these two. Then we have virtualization era, which had Windows Server 2008, 2008 R2, Server 2012 and 2012 R2. Then we have cloud era, which includes your server 2016, server 2019, and now server 2022. Now here basically you have three editions: essential edition, standard edition, and data center edition. Now essential edition is basically limited with services. The major limit of your essential edition is that maximum you can have 25 users and 50 devices you can connect in Active Directory. Apart from that, it is based on Windows 10 code. It is not having the underlying server code. It is having Windows 10 code, and it has anti-malware enabled and configurable on the server. And apart from this, on you can use your Active Directory services on this and group policies also. So group policy is technically part of Active Directory, but here group policy has certain limitations. Whereas with standard edition and data center edition, you don't have that limitation. So your standard edition and data center is almost similar. It includes all the features, right? Except some differences, right? So if we talk about difference between standard edition and data center edition, full Windows Server functionality in both condition. Here you can have two virtual instances of the virtual machines, and here unlimited virtual instances of the virtual machines. So for example, on my physical server, if I am installing standard edition, I can have two set of virtual instances on top of this physical box. But if I am deploying a data center edition, I can have unlimited instances of virtual machine on this physical box. And some advanced features are different or more in data center edition. So for highly virtualized data center environment, this is recommended, and for cloud environments, it includes functionality of shielded virtual machines, software-defined networking, storage spaces, and storage replica. So these features are not available with your standard edition. Apart from that, if we talk about differentiation, right? Difference between server 2016 versus 2019 versus 2022. Right, so here we will get a Microsoft documentation. Let's see here, probably we should have a data sheet. No. It has probably removed it, or else we used to have a data sheet where we can compare the three editions. Yes, some Yeah, so here we have comparison guide where you can see what is the difference, right? So Windows Server 2022 comparison guide we have, right? So feature definition, right? Here you can see features are good, here better, here best in the 2022 edition, right? So here we have secure score edition. Here we have in 2022 hypervisor protected code integrity. HVCI is supported in 19 and 2022, partially supported in 16. Credential card again partially supported in 16, feature improved in 19 and full-fledged in 2022. So here you can see the comparison. So for example, SMB enhancements were not available in 16, 19, but are available in 2022. So I'll not talk about here about SMB because we are not deep diving in Windows Server, right? So here you can see what are the differences. So all these features were available in 16, 19 and 2022. Hybrid environment category, if we have, then precisely 2022, as I conveyed, with every edition of server, Microsoft improves the features. I'll share this sheet in the chat box. If you guys need it, you can go through it. Just a second, I'll share in the chat box. You can download it and go through it. We'll come back. Right, so I'm not going through the network fundamentals because I assume that you guys have basic understanding of network fundamentals. What is IP communication, right? What is a network, networking, private IP, public IP? Yes or no? You guys have knowledge. I hope Rajesh has. Teja?
No.
Sorry.
Like if you explain, like if it briefly, it's good, sir. If you
Okay,
have the
so
time, or otherwise
what I'll do,
you can share that. Yeah, you can share the document of it, IPA fundamentals.
I'll explain in a brief tomorrow. At present, what
Yeah.
we'll do, we will download server 2019 and we will install it. Today
Okay,
we'll see
sir.
one lab. I'll cover this
Hmm.
network fundamentals in first 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes tomorrow.
Okay, okay, sir. All right.
Okay, so today we'll see one lab. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to Google. So in Teja's mic, there was an echo. Maybe he is using external speakers. Because of that, it can be. Yeah. So now if you want to install server 2019 or 16, so first we need an ISO image, right? So we are going to create a virtual machine and we are going to deploy on top of it. It's okay, Teja. If you are not speaking, no one will have any hamper. So don't worry. You can be on speakers. So we can simply download Windows Server 2019. We can search in Google. So it is going to take you to the evaluation center. We'll click on the link. So the same manner you can download 16 also, 19 also, 2022 also. So I'm downloading Windows Server 19. Now here we have different languages. In the English United States language, we have three options. So we can try on Azure. So we'll see this in December. We can have a virtual hard disk. So I'll not go through this. We'll download the ISO image. We will download the ISO image. So I'll click on the ISO image 64-bit edition. So once I click, it is asking to save, right? I'll click on save as and I'll give my path. So here I'm downloading it. So I'll rename it as Win Server 2019 and I'll download it. It is downloading. It is going to take approx 2-3 minutes. We'll wait for a moment. So it is almost downloaded. We have 4 GB downloaded among 5.3 GB. Within less than in a minute, we will be completing the download. Four 4.5 GB download completed from 5.3 GB. So it's almost done. Okay, so it is done. So I'll click on the folder icon to go and see the location where it has downloaded. It is downloaded under my D drive, Windows Server 19 is the file. I'll close this. Now I am going to launch my virtualization software. I'm here going to use VMware Workstation. And under this, I am going to create a new virtual machine. If you guys are using any another virtualization software, so you can use Hyper-V also. In Windows 10 and 11, it is inbuilt, but in order to install, you need to go to Programs and Features. And under Programs and Features, go to Features and you can select Hyper-V and you can install it. Or you can use Oracle VirtualBox. Oracle VirtualBox is a freeware. Hyper-V is also free. So for example, if I go to Control Panel, so this is my control panel. And if we can go to Programs and Features, and here we can go to turn Windows features on or off. So this pop-up will open. And under this, you can see Hyper-V is there. You can select Hyper-V and you can select OK. So it is going to install it and it is going to ask you to restart the machine after installation. So either you can use Hyper-V, it is free, but I would suggest either use Oracle VirtualBox or VMware Workstation. VMware Workstation you can download from VMware website and you can have a 30-day free trial because it is a licensed version. It has approx $350 cost, whereas Oracle VirtualBox is a freeware. You can download and install. It has no license cost. Right, so I'm going to use VMware workstation. I'm going to create a new virtual machine. I'll go with typical options. Next. So I'm here going to browse my ISO image of server 2019. So I'll go to my D drive ISO folder, and this is my ISO file of Windows Server 2019. I'll open it, and it has detected. You can see it is saying Windows Server 2019 detected. Okay, next. I'll skip the screen because we'll do this while we are doing the installation. Next, I'll give my virtual machine a name. So I'll say server 01. I'm giving the machine name as server 1, server 01, and it is going to go and reside in this location. The practice virtual machine server 01 is my folder where my virtual machine will go and sit. Right. So at present, if I go to that location or the practice and virtual machines. So at present, you can see I don't have any server OS folder. I don't have any server OS folder. Apart from that, I'll delete this machines. Right. I don't have any server OS folder. I'll minimize this Explorer, File Explorer. I'll click next. I'm going to give machine 60 GB hard drive. By default, it is taking 60 GB. Okay, next. And this box should be unchecked. Why? I'll convey the reason, because before powering the machine, we will go and check the settings of the hardware. We'll click finish. So now my virtual machine is created, and we can see it has a memory of 2 gigs. Processors, two core processor it has, 60 GB of hard drive it has, and I need to remove the floppy drive as I'm using a VMware workstation because it doesn't support. It will give an error. It will go into loop of licensing. So I'll click on the edit virtual machine settings. So first of all, on the memory, I'm going to give the memory as 8 GB or 4 GB. Now I am giving 4 GB because I have on my machine more than 20 GB of RAM. If you guys don't have 20 GB of RAM, you have only 8 GB, kindly give 2 GB of RAM only, right? Kindly give 2 GB of RAM only. I'll leave the two processors. Now, if you have less than 8 core processor, kindly give 1 core only. Kindly give 1 core only. How you can check if you have how much processors? So you can go to run menu, and in the run menu, you can type sysdm.cpl, sysdm.cpl and enter. So once you press enter, this pop-up will open. You can go to the hardware tab and you can go to the device manager. So device manager will open, and under device manager, you have the processor section. If you expand, you can see I have 12 core processor. I have two 6 core processors, two processors I am having, and each processor has 6 cores. So I'm having 12 cores. So I can give 2 core processor, right? But if you have 8 core or 4 core processors, or 8 or 4 cores only in total, please give here 1 core only or your machine will get hang, right? I'll select the floppy drive and I'll remove it. And on the network adapter tab, it is NAT. I'll select host only. This we'll talk after understanding the network fundamentals. We'll select OK. Now I'll power on the machine. Once I power on the machine, I have given my ISO image. So ISO image is my like a virtual CD drive. It is a virtual DVD and in my virtual CD drive or virtual DVD drive. So it is going to boot from DVD. So within 3 seconds or on the screen, you will have 5 dots, or within 3 seconds, once you see on the screen a message, press any key to boot from CD DVD. You need to immediately click inside the virtual machine first. Click inside the virtual machine first and then press any key. So I'll turn on the virtual machine. I'll click inside. I have clicked inside and here I'll press enter. So this is the screen. 3 seconds or 5 dots. You will see on the screen 5 dots. It will not be more than 3 seconds of time. If you skip that, it will go into a loop. Again, you need to power off the machine and again you need to start the machine. It is asking to install Windows Server 2019. It is asking select your language. So I'll leave the language as English United States. Time and currency format, I'll select English India. So English India, time and currency. Keyboard input, I'll select English US. Keyboard input, or I'll leave English India only. Next. And I'll select install now. So here now it is showing me different editions. So we can see we have standard edition and we have data center edition. But in standard edition also we have two options. And in data center also we have two options. So this option and this option are your server core. Server core, whereas this option and this option are your desktop experience. Now, what is the difference? So desktop experience is your graphical operating system. It will have graphics, the normal operating system, which we use as Windows 10, Windows 11. But whereas we talk about server core, it is completely command based operating system. Command based operating system. You will have only a black screen, nothing else. I'll show the installation of server core tomorrow. Now, by default, if you see, it gives you standard installation because I have downloaded the evaluation edition. But if you have a serial key and using that serial key, if you download, so that serial key will be either for standard edition or either for data center edition. So in that case, you will get only two options. If you have data center, you will get this and this. If you have standard, then this and this, two options only. The default option will be always server core. The default installation option will be server core. That means a command based operating system. Starting with Windows Server 2008, Microsoft has introduced the server core operating system. And starting with Windows Server 2016, it has made the default installation edition as server core edition. It has made the default mode of installation as server core. So I don't want to install the command based operating system. So instead, I'm going to select standard edition, desktop experience. I need graphics. We will move next. We will accept the license terms. Next. Now here we have two options, upgrade and custom. So why you want to upgrade? So upgrade is only possible when you have a lower version of operating system. Either I should have 16 or 2012 R2, but I don't have anything. Right? I'm doing a fresh installation. So Microsoft, instead of giving a fresh installation option, they have given custom installation. And it is saying install Windows only. So we'll click on this option. Now it is showing my 60 GB unallocated space raw hard drive. So in order to install the OS, we need to have partitions and it should be formatted. So I'll click on new to create a partition. And I'll say use my complete 60 GB of hard drive, that is 61,440 MB. I'll say apply. So it is giving a pop-up stating that to ensure that all Windows features work correctly, Windows might create additional partitions for system files. So I'll say, OK, I don't have issue, right? Because it is a system concern. Now, once partitions are created, it will create probably 2 or 3 partitions. Right, so it has created 3 partitions. One is recovery partition of 499 MB and free space is 482 MB. Another is system partition of 99 MB with 94 MB of free space. Third, reserved partition 16 MB of and 16 MB free space. And last partition, we have primary partition, which is of 59.4 GB. It is also free 59.4 GB. Now, when we are installing any Windows operating system, whether it is a client OS, that is a desktop OS, or a server OS, it should be installed on a primary partition only. It should be installed only on a primary partition only. So by default, that's why it has selected primary partition. But if I select this partition, so it is saying Windows can't be installed on drive 0 partition 1 show details. Right? It is saying this partition is a Microsoft recovery partition. So if I select primary partition, it is enabling my next button. We'll move next. And my installation has started. It will take approx 3 to 5 minutes to complete the installation. We'll wait for a moment. So 46% is already completed. We'll wait. It will take more 2-3 minutes max. Oh, 94%, 95% completed. So once the installation completes, it will restart the machine twice. Once it has restarted, probably it will restart once more. It is restarting for the second time. Now, once it pop-ups, it will ask to assign a password to this machine. The default user will be created as administrator. It is the master administrator of your server. Right now it is asking the password. So I'm going to assign a password as admin@123, where A is capital. Admin@123. I have assigned the password. Here also I'll assign the same because I'm just reconfirming the password. You will click finish. So once you click finish, by default, your server will get logged. It will not take you to the desktop as you do on your client OS machine or desktop OS machine. So we need to unlock the server in order to log in. So we need to press Control Alt Delete. But as I'm using a virtual machine, here I am having the button of Control Alt Delete. So this is my Control Alt Delete button. I'll click on it. You can have shortcuts for this, but I'll just click on this. So it is asking me to provide a password. I'll provide the password admin@123. Now it is logging for the first time. And whenever you log into a server manager pops up through which you can manage whole your server, right? So you can see server manager is popping up. Now, apart from that, my server look and feel is not good. So at present, I'll close this and minimize the server manager. So now my virtual machine feel is not good because it has no proper graphic drivers as I'm using a virtual environment. So in under VMware Workstation, we can install VMware tools. In the same manner, under your Oracle VirtualBox, you can install Oracle VirtualBox extensions. So here on the VM tab, I have installed VMware tools. I'll click on this, but before clicking on this, I'll go to File Explorer of the machine. And you can see here I'm having server 2019 DVD inserted. So I'll just click install VMware tools. So it is going to remove this DVD and install VMware tools DVD. You can see it has installed it. I'll double click it. So the installation will start. If it doesn't start, you can open it and from that you can run the setup file. As simple as that. I'll move next. I'll select complete installation. Next and install. So after installation gets completed, it will ask to restart my machine once. We'll restart it. I'm going to close the server manager. That you can see it has changed my field. I'll click finish and it is restarting. It has changed my look and feel. It has given me a better performance of my keyboard and mouse also. If you don't have VMware tools installed, you will feel a lag when you are operating from your physical machine to virtual machine. You might not feel on my machine because I am having higher computing resources, specifically processor and RAM. That's why you might not feel on my machine. Again, we'll press Control Alt Delete. We'll log in. Admin@123 is my password. And again, my server manager is going to pop up. So for today, I am going to pause the session here. If you have any doubts for today, please let me know.
Sir,
Yes, Rajesh.
actually, me and Krishna were having Windows 11 on our machines.
So I'm
So,
also having Windows 11C.
but this VMware workstation is based on licensing, right? As you
But
said,
you can
it's for.
install the trial version. So if you go to Google, you can
Mhm.
type download VMware Workstation and you can go and download it. It has 30-day free trial for Windows. You can download it. Let's see. It is allowing me to download. Or else you can
Mhm.
go and download Oracle VirtualBox. You can download Oracle VirtualBox also. It will have a different field. That's all.
Okay.
So here you can go to downloads and you can download the Windows for Windows.
So Oracle is free of cost, right?
This is free of cost. It is freeware.
Okay. So the settings
But
and the
don't forget to download the extension pack. You need the extension pack also. In Oracle VirtualBox, extension pack is downloaded and installed separately, whereas that is not the case with VMware Workstation.
Mhm. Okay, then can you please guide us through that one, sir? That the VMware. Just click on it and what to install there.
Yeah, just
On the-
next and install. That's all.
Okay.
Just remember what path you are giving. So the path you give, your virtual machine will go and land over there when you create a virtual machine. But you can change that path later on also. That is also possible.
Okay. For the trial version, do we need to pay anything, sir, using credit
No,
card?
it is freeware. So sorry, it is a trial version. So you can use 30 days without any obligation, without any giving any details. Just might it ask for an email address? That's all.
Okay. So it is not going to charge after 30 days, or it is
No,
going to.
see, for charging, you need to insert the credit card or debit card. It is not going to ask
Okay.
any details.
Okay.
Okay.
And okay, sir, understood. And this recording, if we have the recording, we can do the hands-on.
Yeah. So